Harry's greatest legacy is under serious threat. Tom Bower's book Betrayal has blown the Invictus Games wide open. Major sponsors have walked away, charity finances are under scrutiny, and a government document with a very suspicious blacked-out section has surfaced. Stay until the end because what is inside that redacted document will surprise you.
Harry and Meghan are having a conniption fit over these reveals. You know how they release parts of a book throughout certain media entities?
Yeah.
Like right before they come out to tease it. Well, the Times is getting all of the best Tom Bower bits for Betrayal.
Tom Bower is a royal biographer and a well-known author who has written several best-selling books about the royal family. He recently released a book titled Betrayal, revealing what he describes as the many betrayals committed by Harry and Meghan, both before and after they left the royal family.
Bower suggests that the 2025 Games in Canada were overshadowed by Meghan Markle's public appearances, referring to the event as the Meghan Games. He cites Canadian executives who allegedly felt Meghan was a distraction and that her presence was more about bling than veteran rehabilitation.
The Invictus Games were created to place the primary focus on injured veterans. The games were designed to celebrate them, encourage them, and bring them happiness after everything they had sacrificed. Losing a limb or suffering a life-changing injury can completely change a person's life, often leading to depression and emotional struggles. The games were created to restore hope to those veterans.
Invictus Games began with a profoundly noble mission to use sport to help recovery for wounded veterans. But lately, the math isn't mathing on their mission and the way that they run their foundation and program.
But according to Tom Bower, that purpose gradually changed. Instead of the veterans remaining the center of attention, Harry and Meghan became the main attraction. According to Bower, as the games grew bigger, so did Meghan's personal agenda. She reportedly used the platform to showcase her outfits and push her lifestyle brand. The same brand that was already falling apart before most people even knew it had launched.
He's made several highly critical claims regarding the Invictus Games, which we're checking out today, describing them as having become a vehicle for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's personal brand, rather than focusing on veterans, which I can say as a royal reporter, Scott, is something that I hear every Invictus Games, that there are some competitors that feel like Harry and Meghan suck all of the oxygen out of the room and it's not about them.
Harry and the Invictus Foundation have rejected these accusations, describing Tom Bower's book as unfair and misleading. But many people are now asking, why does Harry become so uncomfortable whenever these claims are brought into the public eye? You see, Tom Bower did not just write about the Invictus Games from a distance. He actually attended the Vancouver Games in person and reported what he saw with his own eyes. In his book Betrayal, he alleged that Invictus funds were directed toward private jets, five-star hotels, and personal transportation for Harry and Meghan. He claimed that organizers were instructed to address Meghan as ma'am and Harry as sir. He called the entire Vancouver event the Meghan Games. These were Bower's findings from inside the games themselves. Now comes the most shocking part. Tom Bower's claims made people question how the funds were being spent. A researcher named Rachel Maxwell was digging into the financial documents from the outside. And what she found made Bower's allegations look even more credible. The contract between the Canadian government and the organizers of the 2025 Invictus Games was eventually made public. This wasn't supposed to happen, but after a careful review of the contract, people discovered that one important section had been completely blacked out. That immediately raised questions because every part of the agreement was expected to be clearly available for public review. This unexpected omission made many people suspicious. The hidden section reportedly contained details relating to the event's operating budget and licensing fees. This became a major concern because the money provided for the Invictus Games by the Canadian government is believed to come from taxpayers. As a result, many people argued that the public should be able to see exactly how that money was being spent. Critics questioned why that particular section had been removed from public view, leading to speculation about whether there was something in those financial details that organizers didn't want people to see.
He's having a lot of issues. So I did write a piece this week, it was an exclusive, about how there are funding issues for Vancouver. So we know he is going to Birmingham this summer to prep for the games next year. And one of the reasons he's going is because he needs money.
3 hours later, the entire Invictus Canada website went dark. When it came back online, the document had completely vanished and was replaced with a Dropbox login, so the organization could track exactly who was trying to access their so-called public files. Why had the document suddenly become so difficult to access? These questions only fueled growing speculation that someone was trying to hide something from public view.
Recent information about the Invictus Games Foundation and its Endeavor Fund have come to light and are painting a really bad picture of the situation.
The Invictus Foundation's financial reports raised even bigger questions. According to publicly available reports, the charity received more money than it had the previous year. However, something very strange happened. The amount reportedly allocated to organizations supporting injured veterans dropped significantly. Some observers pointed out that spending directly on veterans appeared to remain almost the same despite the increase in overall funding. At the same time, executive salaries, cash reserves, and legal expenses all increased substantially. These figures have led critics to ask why more money was coming into the organization, while a smaller proportion appeared to be going directly towards supporting the veterans.
But people are a little upset about where the money is going, because right now there's been a 63% drop in actual grants to wounded warriors, despite the fact that they have more money in their bank than ever from carryover. And in Vancouver, they brought in, it was around 62 million. 50% of that was from the government of Canada and BC, meaning that was taxpayers.
Then Boeing saw the growing controversy surrounding the games and decided it could no longer continue its sponsorship. Unfortunately for Harry and the Invictus team, Boeing had been one of their biggest sponsors. The company eventually ended its sponsorship, creating another major setback for the organization. Some people have linked Boeing's decision to Tom Bauer's book because the company's decision came shortly after the book was released. Whether related or not, the coincidence has only fueled even more public discussion as the Invictus continues facing increasing scrutiny.
From Meg Yacht Grifter, who is now calling on a boycott of the Invictus Games, saying there is something not sitting right with this charity. Charities that have something to hide should not be trusted, especially with so much NGO fraud being exposed in the last few years. And they are calling on Boeing and American Airlines to think twice before donating.
And Boeing is just the beginning. Australia has also pulled its $9 million government funding commitment to the Invictus Games entirely, with the Invictus organization's CEO reportedly finding out minutes before the budget announcement went live. And then to make things worse, a board member of the Invictus Games Foundation quietly stepped down on top of all of that. One by one, the people and institutions that once proudly stood behind Harry's organization are walking away.
But the government in Australia has axed funding for Invictus Australia from this year's federal budget, as the organisation's chief executive has urged the government to reconsider this decision. This is all sort of happening just as we speak, as we go to filming. Now, I've spoken to sources close to Harry, and of course they're shocked. They say, they're blindsided by this, as was the organisation in Australia.
This came as another significant blow to Harry and the organisation. Meanwhile, Birmingham, which is scheduled to host the 2027 Invictus Games, is reportedly struggling to attract major corporate sponsors. With several sponsors pulling away, financial concerns surrounding the event continue to grow. Individually, each of these developments may not seem overwhelming, but when viewed together, they paint the picture of an organization facing mounting financial and reputational pressure from multiple directions.
Paula reports the next Invictus Games are scheduled for Birmingham in 2027. The UK government has committed up to £26 million in public funds, despite the city effectively declaring bankruptcy in 2023. It only exited that status in February of this year. With roughly 15 months to go, Birmingham has just 11 unnamed sponsors contributing an estimated £4 million combined.
And then there is the number that stopped everyone in their tracks. The 2025 Vancouver Games cost 63.2 million Canadian dollars for 543 competitors. That works out to approximately $118,000 per competitor. For context, the U.S. Warrior Games, the very event that inspired Invictus in the first place, runs on roughly $2 million per year for a similar number of veterans. Would those veterans not have preferred $118,000 toward new prosthetics, home modifications, or a vehicle that could support their wheelchair? It is a question nobody at the Invictus Foundation has answered.
And when you're dealing with taxpayer monies, people are kind of like, hey, why are we not buying prosthetics?
Right. And more importantly, you're right, are the wounded warriors getting this money that they deserve?
And through all of this, Bauer keeps coming back to the most painful point of all, the veterans. He claims that Harry and Meghan gradually became the main event, while the injured soldiers who had sacrificed everything to compete faded into the background. Harry and the Invictus Foundation have pushed back hard on that claim and called it inaccurate. But when you look at everything else that has been revealed, the public is increasingly making up its own mind. There have also been growing calls for regulators to take a closer look at the charity in the United Kingdom. The Charity Commission has the authority to investigate charities whenever concerns arise regarding financial management or public confidence. Tom Bauer's revelations about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have exposed them to far greater public scrutiny than they may have expected. Between the financial questions, the sponsorship losses, and the mystery surrounding the redacted document, the controversy surrounding the Invictus Games shows no signs of disappearing anytime soon. So, what are your thoughts about this exposed, redacted document? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video.